Hey guys, Xaryu here, and today I want to show you some games from last night. We actually started at like 2800, tanked all the way down to like 2700, and then ended up almost at 2900, I think, like 2860 or 70, something like that. So I had a pretty volatile night. But one of the things I talked about in my last video was change it up if it's not working for you. And we were playing some Windwalker Frost Resto Druid. This is main Tellarine. And we were losing actually to just so much stuff. We were losing to a lot of demo locks, specifically this comp. And I want to cater this video to kind of this comp because we lost to this comp. We lost to these guys a lot. I'm going to show some of the wins we got in here to kind of teach you guys how to beat this comp because Demo Boomkin is very prevalent on ladder right now, so I kind of want to show you guys what we did to beat it, but we did lose to it a lot before we figured out this strategy. But first of all, let me just say, Arcane with this comp works very well, and it works very well against Demo. Frost with this comp works well too, but it just works well against different things. Any comp with like pets or any comp where you really have to do a good job with surviving, you do a lot better with Arcane, because Arcane can just kite forever. You do much better against Fire Mage comps, you do much better against a lot of stuff like that. Frost does okay against all of that stuff, but we just had a much better time today with Arcane, so I decided, screw it, let's play some Arcane. We actually went up like almost 200 rating. So kind of what, I'm going to show two games today, and kind of what we learned from these two games is that going Shaman against his team not only makes him but it's actually just the best kill target. The problem with a Boomkin is that he goes bear form, and when he's bear, he's almost immortal. The problem with the Warlock is that he has that permanent shield wall, and he pretty much just can't die. So it's very, very difficult to actually kill Boomkin or Warlock. So that's kind of why this comp is strong. So, it took us a while, but we were going Warlock most of our games, and it took us a while, but we're like, wait, let's try, you know, maybe doing some splitting strategies where I'll go Lock and you go Shaman, and then after a while we're like, wait, let's just go Shaman. And it actually turned out to, you know, work out very well. I would advise to you guys, if you want to try to beat this comp, just try going Shaman a lot. Either Shaman swaps and sit on the Warlock, that's kind of what we started off doing, or just start training the blue. As the old saying is, just train the blue, you know? And it actually works out pretty well. We do get the Warlock quite low, actually many times. The problem is, if they just try to lock me down, especially as Arcane, and I only have one school, I have no Frost abilities, no Fire abilities, if they want to lock me down as Arcane, I'm screwed. They have Beam, they have Wind Shear, and they have Warlock Counterspell. If I cast Arcane and get sheared in any, or not sheared, but kicked in any of my Arcane spells, you know, Arcane Blast, Arcane Missiles, then I literally do nothing for quite a while. So that's kind of a sad fact. But the reason Arcane does a little bit better is because of the way Arcane Barrage and Resonance works. I talked about this a little bit in another video of mine. But Arcane Barrage hits multiple targets. The more targets it hits, the more damage it does, right? So if there's 4 targets around, it's going to do 100% increased damage to all 4 targets, and it's just going to just unleash you know, a huge, just mass destruction of Arcane Barrage, right? Whereas if you just do it on one person, it's not going to hit quite as hard. So what that means is that if you Arcane Barrage around the target with a bunch of pets, you know, a Warlock with a bunch of imps around, a BM Hunter with a bunch of pets around. Oh my god, I get so low here. Has to force into my ice block right there. That means your Arcane Barrage is going to do much more damage. In addition, when you launch your Arcane Orb through all the imps or through all the pets, not only are you instantly going to go up to 4 orbs, 4 Arcane Orbs, or charges. I saw someone in my last video said they're like, stop calling them Arcane Orbs, they're charges or something else. I don't know what they're called. Stacks, charges, Arcane Orbs, whatever. The little 4 blue balls underneath my mana bar, that's what I'm talking about. You'll instantly get 4 of those when you actually release your Arcane Orb through those pets, and in addition, you'll get Arcane Missiles. Usually, most of the time, because Arcane Missiles have a chance to proc every time that thing's doing damage. If you release it through a bunch of pets, you're usually going to get a missile, 2 or 3 procs right away. So like I said in other videos, guys, if you want to burst his arcane, you're kind of looking at two different things. You can either do a Mark of a Lunith with a missiles into a barrage, something like that. Ooh, man, I actually cannot believe I lived right there. I forgot about that. So I blinked back, blinked again for another spell immunity, and then mass invis, and then normal invis, and I lived at like 1%. That was actually a crazy way to live right there. Every time I blink, I get that spell immunity. Okay, so to do damage, you can either Mark of a Lunith, pair it with a missiles into a barrage, something like that, or my big burst is usually something like Arcane Power with Presence of Mind. You can also do Mark of a Lunith before this if you want to, put all your eggs into one basket, into double Arcane Blast, into a barrage, and then you can even Arcane Orb into like a missiles into another barrage. So there's a lot of different combos that you can do to burst, but what I usually do is something along those lines if I wanted to. It depends if I want to avoid getting kicked or not, right? Oh man, this full moon, I trinket blink this full moon at the very last second, barely get out of line of sight. But if I want to do burst without getting kicked, I might just do something along the lines of, Arcane Power, Presence of Mind, make sure I'm at 4 Arcane stacks, of course, double Arcane Blast into a barrage, into an Arcane Orb, maybe an Arcane Explosion, and then another barrage. And that means it's all instant cast, cannot get kicked, and it's, that's a lot of fucking damage. It's a lot of freaking damage. But if I am, there's no kicks, or there's no way I can get kicked, I'm out of line of sight, then Arcane Missiles is like one of the most, DPS per second you can do is Arcane. So if you get an entire Arcane Missiles off with 4 stacks with Arcane Power, it just annihilate someone. If you can get 2 of those casts in a row into a barrage or something, that's just insane. So here we go. We kill that Warlock. It was an incredibly close match. I was so excited. So here's the next game against them. So we lost a bunch in a row. These guys, I think, were ahead in the series. And then we fought him that game, and we're like, okay, seems like when we go Shaman, he goes out of mana. When he goes out of mana, it seems like we have a much better job, killing them. We do a much better job killing them. So with this game, we wanted to go a lot more Shaman. And that was just kind of our strategy. Even though we killed Locke, it just seemed like focusing the Shaman is what led to the Warlock kill in that last game. For mana reasons and just for pressure reasons, when we were doing the Shaman swaps, it just seemed to help. So that's what we decided to do. I also, if you guys notice, I'm Arcane Barraging, and then Orbing to get my stacks back, and then Barraging again, Arcane Explosion to get my stacks back, Barraging again. So that's kind of like my consistent pressure. If you guys were wondering, how do I do consistent pressure here is Arcane. Especially if I don't want to cast, that's how you do it. Because it's a good amount of damage, especially if you stacked with his partners or with imps, because of that Arcane Barrage Resonance synergy. Just pulling out here a little bit, and getting ready to do another burst window. And so for the start of this game, I was thinking of strategies in my head during this game. So I was like, how are we going to beat this? Let's try splitting, like I mentioned earlier. So for a lot of this game, my monk is actually just hitting the shaman, and I'm just hitting the warlock. This full moon's about to hit me. Instead of just dying and flopping, I do go ahead and ice block to save my life. So my shaman, or my monk pushes in onto the shaman, and I'm just kind of splitting damage to the warlock. And we wanted to try this out for a little bit. How does it work? Since there's no other slow in the warlock at the time, I put slow on him to do increased damage. I do have my one-shot cooldowns available. I go invis, and I get a free Mark of Lunith that can't be kicked. Going for my crazy one-shot, double barrage, or double arcane blast into a missiles, into another missiles. Do get kicked. If I didn't get kicked there, there's a good chance he actually would have died. Paralyze on that cast. He's getting very low. Arcane barrage and everything, and then I just spam arcane blast to get my stacks back. Or Arcane Explosion, rather, to get my stacks back. And it's actually decent damage into another barrage, which is more decent damage. I'm actually doing quite a bit of damage here, especially when they're all stacked. Arcane Orb, but the only reason I didn't get 4 stacks there is because I was Cyclone. You can't actually generate stacks when you're Cycloned. Or I don't believe you can, at least. Get capped, get bashed, get Curse of Tongues. I'm just like, ugh, get me out of here. And that was kind of our big burst window. So from here, I'm just like, all right, let's just run. And we kind of did this a lot, where we just kind of run, hang back, sit tight and then push back in when I have cooldowns. And I have my arcane power here in about 30 seconds, and I want to do big damage with that. Sometimes, so arcane power is a 90-second cooldown, presence of mind is a 1-minute cooldown, 60 seconds. So you kind of have this dilemma. Do you want to arcane power and presence of mind every 90 seconds, or do you want to get them off sync and arcane power and presence of mind in your opener, but then use them kind of off sync with each other so you can do damage more frequently? And the answer is both. You can save it up, or you can use them if you just need a little bit of extra damage. Right there, I unfortunately used my presence of mind to do a little bit of extra damage. Now I have my arcane power and I don't have too much burst with it, but I end up using it here because I just had I had missile procs, I had that huge barrage, I had quite a bit of damage, and I just hope I don't get kicked by the warlock. I'm doing insane damage with this missile, or with these with this arcane power, this missiles, the barrages. The shaman's just getting low. So I think at this point in the game, we're like, wait, we're generating the most pressure by going shaman. We are keeping ourselves alive the easiest by going shaman because it forces them to peel and do less damage. We are hurting the shaman's mana the most by going shaman. So we're like, we just need to go shaman. We need to pull out, recover, push in, go shaman. Pull out, recover, push in, go shaman. We were kind of doing this rinse and repeat for a while, and it led us to victory. So, guys, if you're trying to beat this as Windwalker Mage, or if you're trying to beat this as any comp, even Rogue Mage, I think it might be decent, try hitting the Shaman, because the Warlock and the Boomkin are really not great kill targets, and I'm sure you're fighting this, especially if you're pushing for rank 1, if you're pushing for Gladiator, if you're pushing for Duelist, or, whatever title you're going for. This is a pretty common comp on ladder. And look at this, every time we push into the Shaman, he's just getting so low. We're putting a lot of our kicks into Shaman, we're putting a lot of our kicks into Fears or Cyclones. Don't really want to kick much else. If there's a full moon being casted, you would rather blink it, line of sight it, your monk can port it, your druid can bear form it. It's kind of funny because bear form has no cooldown, but yeah, he can just bear form it and he should be fine. And there's just a lot of ways to actually get around full moon. Same thing with Thalkeel's consumption. You want to try to save your kicks for Fear, Cyclone, or a Shaman cast if you actually think you can get that kill. But look at this, guys. Shaman's at 13% mana now. He's getting very low. I'm getting very low. My Ice Block comes up off cooldown, and in the nick of time I actually get my Ice Block off. My Monk does go ahead and leg sweep there, so it's actually kind of unfortunate with that timing that I had the Ice Block there. I push in, getting some Arcane Explosions, getting some more AoE pressure. Here's my Arcane Power. I'm Sphered, Coiled, Cyclone on my whole Arcane Power. I was so mad that I get my Presence of Mind, double Arcane Blast, go for a quick missiles here, get a nice amount of missiles off, do the barrage, spamming Arcane Explosion, Belfim, Arcane Explosion, and he finally goes down. So that was kind of the game, guys. Thumbs it up if you liked it, thumbs it down if you didn't. Try these strategies that I talked about in the video. Let me know how it worked for you. These games were, yeah, almost 2,900 MMR, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!